What would you face if you tried to address this $19 billion operating deficit solely on the expenditure side? Well, not only would you have to reduce programs, but if you just look at a handful, you'd have to completely eliminate funding for our universities, UC and CSU. You would have to eliminate all funding for welfare programs, CalWORKs, and payments to the elderly and the disabled. And you would have to eliminate all funding for developmental services, mental health, and in-home supportive services in order to close that gap. In this case, we're coming off a very tough year when revenues were already slowing. We had a very difficult budget problem. And so again, I think it's kind of like this constellation of events of a really precipitous drop in economic activity. We've been in a recession now for several months. The prospects are very poor for growth in the near term. Huge operating deficits, a lot of solutions off the table. We've kind of finally come, I think, maybe to the end of our rope in delaying our problems from year to year. And this was, I think, the example of the budget we just passed, where everyone knew, it wasn't a surprise, there was nothing being hid, that we had a lot of one-time solutions that got us through the year. And we either don't have those or it's not going to help because of the dramatic fall-off in revenues. So in my view, it is time that we kind of face the music and take some significant long-term steps to get our two lines together. Part of the problem with Proposition 58, though, is it went into effect in 2004, and we haven't had the kind of good times to build up the reserve to see if it works well enough. We now have a potential balanced budget measure that will go on the ballot that would limit the ability to access the reserve. It does toughen up the provisions of Proposition 58. And I think in the future, that could make a big difference by taking, again, those peaks off of spending. But it won't help us in the near term. We've gotten ourselves into a situation where I just don't know how you quite close that on the spending side alone.